Hello, welcome again to the Diaspora panel, the voice of the diaspora. My name is Dejola, and I am based in Dublin, Ireland. I have with me, as always, Mr. Olaiton Adedigba, who is based in United States of America. Mr. Adedigba, you are welcome to today's meeting.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I also have Mr. Alala who is based in Calgary, Canada. Mr. Lawal, you are also welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to say thank you to all our new subscribers. We got lots of new subscribers last week, and I want to implore you, if you are one of those people who have been watching our video, or if this is your first time, please hit that subscription button. It's free of charge. It means anytime we do a new video, you'll be one of the first people to know about it. So today we want to do an analysis of the 2023 election and what happened there. We know that in 2023, there was a groundswell of opinion that presidency should come to the South. That is after an 8-year rule of a president who happens to come from the North. That is President Muhammadu Buhari. Now, all the governors of the South, they came together, led by the late Rotimi Akeredolu, and they all threw their weight behind a Southern presidency. I also I was also aware that the leaders of the southern states, led by Edwin Clark, the Southern State and the Middle Belt Forum, they also met, and they all threw their weight behind a Southern presidency. Shortly after that, all the Northern governors in the APC, they met and decided to throw their weight behind a Southern presidency. So all this happened. So eventually the APC produced a Southern presidential candidate in the name of Bola Tinubu. But on the PDP side, what we saw was very, very baffling. We know that Atiku Abubakar, who eventually emerged, is a very seasoned politician who knows what he's doing. Now, the PDP themselves, they met and they decided that the presidential candidate should come from the South. But Atiku Abubakar, put himself into the race and did everything to claim that ticket. But during that process, a few things happened. We saw somebody like Peter Obi, who walked away from the party and took away all the bloc votes from the southeastern states. And we know that since 2011, 2015, the southeastern state has been the main bloc behind the PDP. So Peter Obi walked away with all the votes in that zone. Shortly after that, we saw Rabi Kwankwaso, who is a very, very famous politician in Kano. He walked away, and with him, he took the entire Kano votes with him, which was over 1 million, took that with him. And we also saw a gathering of the G5 governors, which include the governor of Oyo State, and 3 governors of the Southeast, and the Governor Wike of the River States. That bloc also, walked away from PDP. In Lagos, we saw opinions, that were against the presidency of Atiku, especially led by Olabode George, the former governor of, I think, of Lagos, or of one of the southern states. And because of this, the PDP was also decimated in Lagos. Now, Atiku Abubakar is not a small politician, he's a seasoned politician who's been in the game for over 30 years. He knows what he's doing. Now, Atiku know that with the PDP broken into bits and pieces, there's no way he could have won that election. He knew. But he decided to pursue his ambition. And he knew that there could be only one result, that the APC will win that election. Now, if we look at the circumstances in that election, we could say that the APC have demarcated themselves by by their action on fuel scarcity, money scarcity. There's some tall columns in the APC who were actually working for the PDP to win the election. And it will have been, a very good election if, for example, Atiku had not put himself in. If Atiku had supported somebody like Peter Obi as candidate of the PDP, that election would have been, the result would have been different. So, Lighton, let me start with you. Atiku knew what he was doing, and we knew that, I think in 2011, Atiku was actually the presidential candidate of Action Congress. It was propped up by Bola Tinubu, but Atiku lost that election. So there have been some, political networking between Atiku and Tinubu. So now for Atiku to have divided the PDP, because basically that's what Atiku did. What Atiku did in 2023 was that he divided the PDP into different pieces. And then Bola Tinubu was now able to come in and win that election. That was the first time that somebody won an election, a presidential election, with less than 10 million votes. I think Tinubu had roughly about 8 million votes. So, do you think that Atiku worked for the emergence of Tinubu as the president of Nigeria in 2023?
Is very dicey. The situation of that then was very dicey. And all what Tinubu did was to play on the intelligence of the Atiku and Obi. Right? Atiku being a serious contender and highly ambitious man. He wanted to become the president at all costs of Nigeria. But he only made a mistake. Right? And the mistake was to have allowed Obi to leave PDP. And having allowed Obi to leave APC, PDP, sorry. Having allowed Obi to leave the PDP, he still allowed the G5. If he had allowed Obi to stand for the election and supported him, he would have won the election. Knew full well that the people at in the north, in the south, they will vote en masse for PDP. Not only that, the people who are disgruntled, who are not, with the situation on ground then, they are not happy. Majority in APC would have voted for Obi to become the president, but they bungled that chance, right? That monumental chance they had, they bungled it. And if care is not taken, if they don't come together again in 2027, Tinubu will still win. There's nothing they can do about it. You remember Atiku, to tell you that, to drive home my point, Atiku contested in 1993. In 1993, sorry, he contested for presidency in 1993. In 2007, he contested. 2011, he contested. 2015, he contested. 2019, he contested. 2023, he contested. He has contested in 2027. So he has contested 7 times. So he's still going back, right? They wanted to do the next meeting. He rushed down. So it is not done like that. So people are on guard. Tinubu, I give it to him. He had the foot soldier who will do the work. And they will sit there at the same time. For the first time in the history of Nigeria, he brought a scientific approach to the electioneering campaign and the voter system. And they analyzed everything. They knew that, okay, in this place, in this state, they will win. In this state, outside loss, they don't go there. They back. They base their attention on the states that they felt that they can win. So people are sitting down there doing the scientific approach for them. So it has not been done in Nigeria, in the issue of Nigeria. So I give it to ABC with the way they did. So it is Atiku and Obi that they both their chance. I think we have stepped down for Obi, a more younger guy to contest under the PDP instead of allowing Obi to leave PDP to go to Labour Party. So that is my take.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Shukwa, can you unmute yourself? So Atiku did something that baffled me in 2023. Now, you are in a party that is already divided. Obi has left to Labour Party. Kwankwaso has left. Now, you have now won the presidential, you've now become, you became the candidate of the party. You won the, what's it called? The convention, you won at the convention and became the candidate. Wike lost to you. Wike came second. Now, Wike is the, is the leader of the governors. And Wike wanted to be vice president. And if you have chosen Wike as the vice president, that will have put that G5 block into your column. But Atiku decided not to and threw Wike, away. So by doing that, Wike now pulled the other, 4 governors with himself, and they became, another block that is against that presidency, that is Atiku's presidential ambition. Do you think that Atiku miscalculated, or do you think he did that intentionally? Do you think he's working, under the table for the emergence of Bola Tinubu? Do you think he actually worked for
well, I think unknowingly, and this is what happens when people put their own interests above the interests of everybody else, including the interest of their party, including the interest of their country. What happened? I think PDP, with the emergence of Atiku as a presidential candidate, had very strong indicators of what was going to happen if they did not self-correct. Meaning strong party members who could deliver votes to the party left. So you mentioned Kwankwaso in the north, Peter Obi going to Labour, to contest on the Labour Party platform. So if you are a serious, and I'm using that word very, very seriously, actually, if you are a serious contender, the indicators are there on the wall that you are going to contest an election with a fractured base. So for me, for him to expect to have won that election means he's not even being honest with himself. The Yorubas have an adage. It says, meaning if you are too smart, you will ultimately hurt your own interests. That, I believe, is what happened. I don't think he worked for Bola Tinubu, but obviously his greed and he's putting his own ambition above that of his party and above that of his country, ultimately gave the election to a more organized party, which in my opinion was the APC. I think we all need to give the APC, as much as I didn't want them to win, we need to actually give them a lot of credit, because if you look at the leading activities that happened before the election, that party should have lost that election with the debacle of the currency, fuel scarcity, and a lot of other things that happened. If it was in a society, in a different society, that party is not going to be handed another 4 years. But they won. They stuck together. We may disagree with some of the way they did, but in a nutshell, I believe that Atiku Abubakar it did not act like a statesman. Look, leadership is not something. It's something that you live. If you can sacrifice your own interests for your party to move forward, for your country to move forward, that gives you the moral compass to request the same from others. It's a very, very difficult conversation to tell candidates to regroup, to suspend their ambitions and support the party, when all that you have done over the course of your career is to impose your own wishes and your own agenda and your own interest on an entire political party. So I think Atiku, and you will see that also when they announced Okowa as his running mate. They actually came out and said they chose Okowa because they felt he was a more quiet person. He was somebody who could sit where he was told. So it was all about Atiku. Even in the selection of a vice presidential candidate, he didn't look at somebody, who potentially, could step in, into the presidency day one and continue his agenda if for any reason he was not available. He looked for somebody who, in quotes, would be submissive to whatever. So it's all about him. And in my opinion, he is not a transformational, he's not a leader. He's not the type of person that will bring or take Nigeria to the so-called promised land.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's a very wonderful, wonderful contribution. Later, shortly after the election, we saw there's this young man called Daniel Buaya. Is it Daniel Buala?
Yes.
Who was a spokesman for the Atiku campaign, during the election. And he was all out, criticizing the new government, and he was, doing everything to provide a credible opposition. But shortly afterwards, we saw a turnaround. Daniel Buaya turned 360 degrees and then went to go and meet President Bola Tinubu. Now he's speaking for Bola Tinubu. And when the journalist asked him, what has happened? Did you jump ship? Did you have a change of heart? What happened to you? And he said that Atiku is aware of him going back to APC and to Bola Tinubu. So now, do you think that that is a pointer that there's a secret pact between Atiku and Bola Tinubu?
You are making a highly fundamental point. The politicians, they are all players. They are players. All the politicians, they are they are fed at what the ways that flow. Today they will say Osana, tomorrow they will buy. So the way is feature of all these politicians, right? So I'm not surprised. The way Bola said, I read it. He said he consulted Atiku before he came. I mean, he wants to support.
Oh, you are breaking up. Hello? I think it's...
All right. So I think...
I'm here with you.
Okay.
It's from you. Yeah. So he said he's supporting because he's his president, he's his leader. But however the case might be, we need a credible opposition so that the president, the government in power, they will know when they are going astray. They will quickly correct themselves. Like if there is no, it's only the press that is doing that now in Nigeria. Immediately they told President Bola Tinubu that the avalanche of the retinue of cars that normally follow him whenever he's going to anywhere, he's going outside the country, he's going to Lagos, there are too many. He tried to reduce it. Likewise, the government officials banned them from going overseas. Right? So that is what we need. We need credible opposition. Right? To checkmate this team, to checkmate these people, right? To serve as a ear and nose of ear and eye of the people, right? To tell the people, government that we are the shoe is pinching them, right? Likewise, what is going on in the country now? We don't. I look at that over the weekend. It was saying government should know this. government should be aware of it. So that is what we need. But I discovered that one former Punch correspondent is now the editor of one of the newspapers. He was carried from his house, like when I think we are in a military junta era. They carry him, they detain him for 40 days. Or the order of chief of staff.
Allegedly,
yeah, on the order of chief of staff, because of the story he carried about the chief of staff. So it's wrong. You can't do that. So I wonder why Nigeria, the press are now on the street now because of this. It is this Adeniji today, it might be anybody tomorrow.
Okay.
Right? Why are they gagging your voices?
Okay.
They don't want to hear voices. Opposition. It's wrong.
Okay, let me pause you there. Shukpo, can you unmute? So, what is your opinion about the turnaround of Atiku's Spain doctor?
So, I don't see much to it. What would what else would he have said? I didn't talk to to Atiku. Look, I think he's talking to the APC. For me, is a better indicator that the PDP as a political party is done. These are people who know what is happening, behind closed doors. I think his response that Atiku knows about him talking to the APC, it, to me, doesn't really mean much. These are people who benefit, from what is happening in mainstream. And if the PDP is, politically dead, I would even say having a frank conversation with Atiku that, there is nothing more on this platform. I need to, to move to another platform where, where things are happening. That is a candid conversation he probably had with Atiku. And Atiku, who has been away since the 2023 elections, has nothing to offer him. So this is what we call politics. Same thing, with Wike taking the posts of Minister for Federal Capital Territory. He hasn't left the PDP. And he also said the PDP as a political party was notified and aware before he accepted that ministerial appointment. So I think these are all indicators that the PDP as a political party is not a viable opposition, right? It's not playing the role of the opposition, and they are at significant risk of actually going down.
Thank you very much. Lighter, just final. Atiku right now, from time to time, you can hear the occasional boss, as a kind of opposition to the current government. I think the main opposition is actually coming from the Labour Party, from Peter Obi and the Obedient movement. Well, Atiku seems to be still plotting. I think he wants to come back to contest in 2027. And for me, nothing has changed. The party has not been reconciled. And the people in Lagos, Olabode George and co, they're still aggrieved. They're still there. The G5 governors, including Wike, they're still not in agreement with Atiku. Peter Obi is still not back in the PDP. So the entire Southeast, they're not going to vote for the PDP. You understand? So they're not going to vote for Atiku. So if Atiku comes, decides to come back, we know he has a deep pocket. This man, and is very clever. He has all the buttons he can press. And if Atiku decides to come back again in 2027, do you think that his work for Tinubu will be completed? Because Tinubu will definitely come back.
Yes. Don't forget, our brothers and sisters from the northern part of the country, they believe that the country belongs.
And please unmute yourself. I think you muted yourself. Okay.
Yes, that the country belongs to them, and everybody in the country, they have pride. The sense of arrogance, right, that allowed Atiku to let the G5 go, the sense of arrogance that allow Obi to go without romancing him back. For God's sake, it's a game, it's a number. Democracy is a game of number, right? But it just allow all these people to play and believing that the whole country can be giving money, right? So when they are giving money, they can manipulate the electoral officer, they can do all this stuff, then they will win. No, it is not that. Thank God, this guy, he met his match in APC, right? Because this guy was dogged and the people are doing the think tank for them. They are looking at every means that they need to win this election. So what Atiku needs to do is to make sure that he sits here, he organizes the party, right? So once he organizes the party, though he's been voicing out some minuses in the administration of President Bola Tinubu, but it's not enough. He needs to be on the ground, right? Really emerged on the ground and making sure that all the notable politicians, like we knew what Tinubu did, right? In 2011, when he was going out and he was going from one place to another, with PDP, agree all these other parties. So it asked them to form a mega party. So Atiku can still do the same thing, right? A lot of people are agreed. So if he wants to win the election, this is what I expected of him. I'll be on ground. Even invite to be, whatever I might take. If Kwakwaso too, Kwakwaso is won the governorship election in Kano State. So it's over millions. So these are the area he needs to work upon. They don't sit down in Dubai and come when the election is about 1 year or 2 years. So the ground will have been taught out. So that is my take. I think we cannot win the election by not coordinating himself properly, right? Before he goes for the election. It's as if he's giving Bola Tinubu another chance to win election in 2027.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Shukwa, can you unmute? You're muted. In 2027, Atiku will be possibly about 77, 78. It's going to be about 2 years away from being 80.
77? Yes,
yeah.
77.
Particularly, what has Atiku got that will be of help to Nigeria? Because he has never been a state governor. I think he was a vice president for some time, and for the whole of that 8 years, he was, getting contracts here and there and fighting with his boss. I mean, it was a very turbulent time, those 8 years that he was vice president was a very turbulent time, not just for him, for Nigeria. We saw what happened now. We sold all these enterprises for peanuts. So what is he really bringing to Nigeria that, why is he adamant that he just wants to be president? What's so thick about him?
Well, so, as I said earlier, this is a man who is driven primarily by self-ambition. During the lead up to the 2023 elections, I read a lot of his 7-point plan, 3-point plan, 4, and for me, they were just words. They meant nothing. Didn't connect with the average Nigerian. And I think, as you have said, if we look back at what the Atiku vice presidency was, it was not a good time for Nigeria. As you said, if you're a vice president, you work with and you support your boss. He didn't do that. He was struggling for power. It was not a very good time. So that, for me, is an insight into what an Atiku presidency would be. It will be disastrous for Nigeria. That's what I believe. I don't believe he has the leadership qualities to bring people together, first and foremost. We can see that from the debacle of what happened with the PDP, up to the last election, and even up till now as a political party. being unable to act as a formidable opposition to the APC. And he's out of sight, he's nowhere to be found. He's going to come back maybe 2026 and start making noise. So he's not an elder statesman in the sense that he cannot give his own ambition up in the interest of his party or in the interest of Nigeria. We saw a lot of the organizations that were sold under his action plan.
Yeah.
Disastrous for Nigeria. So I don't know. Personally, there is not one thing that I can find. And I must say, finally, I think for me will be the nail in his coffin. He's not, to me, someone who can engender unity within the various ethnic, well, maybe not ethnic, but religious groups in Nigeria. I mean, this was a man who shared a picture of his visit to the tomb, supposedly, of Usman Dan Fodio before the 2023 election. I remember that tweet because I responded to it. And I in the tweet, I asked, what do you think Usman Dan Fodio stood for that you think this picture makes it a good thing for you to share? So we have to understand these candidates, in their entirety. This is a man who, when criticized, removed the tweet condemning the actions of those who stoned Deborah in Sokoto, allegedly over her being a Christian, within about 24 hours. So, if I put all of this together, this is not somebody we want to be a president of Nigeria.
Thank you, Shupo. Finally, Lighton.
Yeah, to add to what Shupo just said.
Yeah.
Atiku is estimated to be his net worth is estimated to be $1.6 billion US. Well, and Obasanjo in his book, he said Atiku can feed 400 million US, 300 million Nigeria for 400 years. So he's stupendously rich. Look at the public enterprises in Nigeria. How many people, if those public enterprises are not so, they are well managed? How many people would think that Nigeria will be fully employed?
Okay, for lack of time.
So
let me ask you the question the final question I want to ask you.
Okay.
Atiku is now trying to galvanize other parties, all the other parties to come together.
Okay.
As to form a formidable opposition to the ruling APC. Apparently, he wants to be the presidential candidate. I don't know how he's going to do that. I don't know if he thinks that Obi will come and be his vice president. I don't know whether he thinks that somebody like Kwankwaso we come back and be under him. I don't know how he wants to do it. But Lighton, if you were to advise PDP, because they should be the main opposition in Nigeria, they're the one that should be the main opposition. Do you think it's time for them to call his bluff, to call Atiku's bluff and say, listen, we've had enough of you. Let us put this party together and let us become what we used to be. Do you think this is the right time for the PDP to put their foot down?
Yes, like you said it so. All over the world, look at the nearby country in West African body. In 44 years, he's becoming the president of their country. In France, in Obama, all this in France, the president here, Obama was 40-something years. So we need somebody, we need youth, a vibrant guy who can think fast. If not, we don't need people like Atiku. They outlived their usefulness. Right? In PDP, we need.
They're frozen again.
Somebody like Kwakaso will be the president, Obi will become the vice president. So after Kwakaso, Obi can become the president. That should be the pact that these people should be. Should sign. That okay, after Kwakaso become the president, they form a formidable opposition, and they might defeat APC.
Okay, Thank you, Lighton. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think I frozen. Ryan Chupa, you are going to say something. Unmute yourself, please.
I was going to add to what Mr. Lighton was just saying. If we all remember, leading up to the 2023 elections, there were certain conversations between the Labour Party and NMP, the New Nigerian People's Party, NNPP, with respect to a Labour NNPC merger. That didn't play out, primarily because Kwankwanso wanted to be at the top of the ticket. I think if we all look back at the numbers from the election, it is very, very clear that Kwankwanso does not have the numbers to be at the top of the ticket. I think what could be the beginning of a coalition of parties, so-called as a formal opposition, would probably be first with the NNPP. Maybe if Kwankwanso, would agree, to be, because definitely we all know now that there is an obedient movement that has galvanized around Peter Obi. So Peter Obi cannot be at the bottom of the ticket. It becomes basically who it will be. I don't think Atiku will succeed if that is his plan. I mean, let's look at what's happening. He has not brought all warring factions in the PDP together. Now he wants to bring all so-called, opposition parties. It's not going to work. These are things that can be done by people who have leadership capabilities, who can bring people, across religious and ethnic lines. And that is exactly the opposite of what Atiku is. His presence in the PDP basically destroyed whatever the party's chances were before the election. It's like everything he touches just disintegrates. So if the PDP is listening and they want to be a serious party, I think the way you get back is by calling his bluff and actually, removing him from contending in any shape or fashion for any presidential ticket.
Thank you. I think that any coalition or any union of parties that does not have Peter Obi as a presidential candidate on top of that ticket is a waste of time. Because if you look at the numbers, Obi has a lot of more votes than Kwankwanso. Obi is bringing the entire Southeast vote. He's bringing the Christian votes in the Middle Belt. So I think if PDP, if they really want to do a good job, what they need to do is to invite Obi to come back to PDP, give him the ticket, invite Kwankwanso back. Kwankwanso can be the vice presidential candidate because Kwankwanso cannot win an election by himself. It's very apparent. So, and I think Alhaji Abubakar Atiku, who is going to be 77, 78 in 2027, should rethink of that ambition that he's been on for 30 years. This is the time for him now to support Nigeria. This is the time for him to, to put down that ambition and help Nigeria to become successful. It is not just about one individual. Nigeria is a state, and we should all use our hand to lift it up, whether we become president or not. Our mission should be to make sure that Nigeria succeeds. So that's where we're going to leave it today. And I want to say thank you to Mr. Olalawa all the way from Calgary in Canada. Thank you so much for coming to today's meeting.
Thank you for having me.
And my very good friend, Olaiton Adedigba, all the way from New Jersey in the United States. Thank you for coming to today's meeting.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Bye-bye.
And to all our viewers, please, if you have not yet subscribed, please hit that subscription button. It is free of charge. It means anytime we will do the next video, you'll be one of the first people to know about it. Thank you again, and God bless you. We'll see you again next week, Sunday. Thank you. Bye-bye.